Well, despite stepping down from her high-profile role, former FBI Chief Kimberly Cheatle has found herself at the centre of another scandal. According to Real Clear Politics, Secret Service sources told the publication that Ms Cheatle, among others, wanted to destroy the cocaine bag found inside the White House last year. We remember in July 2023, a small plastic bag with less than a gram of cocaine was found inside a cubby in the West Wing of the White House, a highly trafficked area as lots of tour groups go through there and leave belongings inside those cubbies, as well as the fact this took place on the July 4 weekend. Unfortunately, Secret Service did not find a suspect for the cocaine, nor even a lead. Sources told Real Clear Politics that while Kimberly Cheatle and others wanted to destroy the cocaine, the Secret Service Forensic Services Division and the Uniform Division pushed back. One officer was assigned to the case, but was allegedly taken off it when he wanted to follow a certain crime scene investigation protocol. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guilhelmi vehemently denied accusations that Kimberly Cheatle wanted to destroy the cocaine, in turn bury what would become a huge story of last year and a huge scandal for the Biden administration. In a statement, he said, "This is false. The US Secret Service take its investigative and protective responsibilities very seriously. There are retention policies for criminal investigations, and the Secret Service adhered to those requirements during this case." The White House cocaine scandal became a bit of a whodunit situation, with many critics pointing to Joe Biden's son Hunter, who has a well-documented addiction to cocaine. He and President Biden were at Camp David at the time of the story breaking, nor was Hunter living at the White House at the time. The article from Real Clear Politics prompted replies on X, weighing in on yet another scandal for the Secret Service. Republican Congressman Tim Burchett tweeted, "We're now learning that former Secret Service Director Cheatle was pushing to destroy the cocaine found in the White House without telling anybody. Cover up after cover up after cover up." Others responded to that tweet writing, "The system is rotten to the core," and "When is someone going to be indicted?" Now, all of this comes in light of the Secret Service's botched handling of the assassination attempt against Donald Trump on July 13. While Trump narrowly escaped what could have been a fatal shot from 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, the taxpayer-funded agency was scrutinised for its choice in what agents were assigned to protect the former president, how Crooks managed to get on top of the roof unseen, and how he managed to even take a shot without it being intercepted immediately. Republican Senator Josh Hawley appeared on Fox News where he claimed sources told him the Secret Service's lead agent at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania orchestrated a total free-for-all that day.
You're saying that the site agent in charge of this security in Butler wasn't checking IDs? What do you mean? She was just letting people in?
That is what whistleblowers tell me, is that IDs were not checked to allow individuals into secure areas, Jesse. In other words, it was a total free-for-all. Whistleblowers portray to me a circumstance, a situation that was totally out of control, where people were milling around, including in what were supposed to be highly secure areas. Nobody knew who they were. By the way, it was also the lead site agent's job to make sure that the line of sight for where Trump was clear, that agents could see all angles. And she didn't do that. In fact, I'm told that the line of sight was obstructed, which means that agents from different angles couldn't really see around Trump, couldn't see potential dangers to Trump. This is pretty textbook stuff, Jesse. And what whistleblowers say to me is none of it was done properly. None of it was done by the book. And frankly, when you know all that, it's amazing more people weren't killed. This person needs to be fired, as does anybody who had leadership on that day.
While Kimberly Cheatle did eventually resign from her job as Secret Service chief after weeks of public pressure, she faced the House Oversight Committee before that to testify before members of Congress. It was a heated day where members of the committee, on a bipartisan level, did not hold back. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene being one of them.
Ms. Cheatle, I'd like to remind you that you're under oath. The site team has a senior supervisor, an advanced team, a protective intelligence team, a counter sniper element, and detail. Who was the agent in charge? How long has she been the agent in charge? And what is her Secret Service background?
So I'm not going to provide a name.
Why not? You're here to answer our
This
questions.
forum, I'm not going to provide names of.
You stated in your testimony, you said, I am here today to answer your questions.
That is correct.
Answer the question.
I'm not going to provide names of our personnel. To
Why
this
not?
committee today.
The American people are demanding these answers from you today, Ms. Cheatle.
I will do the best to provide you accurate information based on the facts that I have at this time.
You're not answering our questions. The advance element coordinates with other intel or law enforcement partners, identifies threats and weaknesses at the sites and movements. We'd like a copy of the advance report. Have you brought it here with you today?
We will comply with the request for the documentation that has been requested.
When will that be, Ms. Cheatle? Because you should have brought it today.
I am certain that our personnel are working on obtaining all of that documentation.
I don't believe you, and neither do the people watching this hearing. You're not doing well, as Mr. Moskowitz informed you. You've been sitting here for over 3 hours, and I have you know the entire country is demanding you resign and demanding that you be fired if you do not resign. Things are not going well for you. You need to answer the questions. Was there a protective intelligence team, and what technical resources were utilized for that event, specifically drone or helicopter assets?
There were a number of technical assets that were deployed for that event, and there was a protective intelligence team that was assigned to that event.
Why was Crooks able to fly a drone over the entire area the day of the rally and the day of his assassination attempt?
To my knowledge, he did not fly the drone over the entire area.
How did he fly a drone over the area, period? Any part of the area?
Again, I would have to go back and check the timeline of when that took place and when the event.
Why didn't you bring the timeline with you today to answer our questions?
I don't have all of the answers on the timelines based on the criminal investigation.
Were you not prepared today to answer our questions?
I am prepared to answer the questions based on the information and wanted to be able to provide.
Do you have a timeline do you have a timeline at all from any of the day?
I have a timeline that does not have specifics.
That's shocking. That is absolutely unacceptable. That means you are a failure at your job. Let's talk about things that are prohibited in Trump rallies. And I've been to a lot of Trump rallies. Backpacks and bags, bicycles, firearms, any type of weapon, or any other item determined to be a potential safety hazard, like a rangefinder would be one. At 5:10, Crooks is first observed by one of the snipers, AGR Sniper 1, at the building. 5:10, President Trump was shot in the face at 6:11 p.m. 5:28, AGR Sniper 1 takes a picture of a bicycle and 2 bags. Those belong to Crooks. 5:32, AGR Sniper 1 spots Crooks looking at his phone and using a rangefinder. 5:55, Butler ESU Command confirms receipt of photos and states they have been relayed on. 6:05 p.m., AGR Sniper 1 later communicates that Crooks is seen moving northeast in direction of Sheets and that Crooks has a backpack. 2 minutes before the shooting, while President Trump has been allowed to take the stage, people see Crooks laying on his stomach in a sniper position on the roof, and they're yelling he has a gun, and they are trying to alert law enforcement and Secret Service. Why was Crooks not shot by the snipers? Why was he allowed to be there?
As soon as the individual was identified as a threat, they were...
No. What do you consider to be a threat? A man with a gun laying in a sniper position, a man that had a backpack, a man that had a bicycle, a man that had a rangefinder. At what point is he determined a threat?
An individual with a backpack is not a threat. An individual with a rangefinder is not a threat.
What about a man laying on a building that has direct line of sight of President Trump with a gun that people are screaming and pointing out? Is that a threat, Ms. Cheatle?
Once that individual was identified, They were neutralized.
No, they were neutralized. Crooks was neutralized after he shot President Trump in the face, Ms. Cheatle. Is he only a threat once he fires the weapon?
As soon as the counter sniper identified that individual, they were able to neutralize them.
How were people in the crowd? Okay, then let's just take it this way. People under your command did not consider him to be a threat, yet people in the crowd knew he had a gun and considered him to be a threat. That means that you are a complete failure as the director of the Secret Service, that people under your command don't perceive a man laying on a roof with direct line to the president with a gun. They don't perceive that to be a threat, yet the people in the crowd do. How is that possible?
That's the last question, but please answer the question, Ms. Director.
I'm not certain at this time how the information from the people in the crowd was relayed to any law enforcement personnel.
No, you knew, that everyone knew. The people there knew that there was a danger. They knew there was a threat to President Trump, and it was allowed to happen. Was there a stand-down order, Ms. Cheatle? Was there a conspiracy to kill President Trump?
Absolutely not.
Then how did this happen? And why are you still sitting here not turning in your letter of resignation?
Last question, but please answer, and then I'll recognize Ms. Presley. Please answer the question. Director.
That is what we are investigating to determine.
We're waiting for your letter. We are waiting for your letter of resignation, and you really need to consider doing that before you leave today.